Class is in session. This is Professor Ganymede. We got another gameplay analysis for our 10,000 subscriber special, and this time we have Derp. Hey Professor, I suck at Lucio and need some serious help. Could you check out my VOD and see if there's any way to salvage my play? Thanks. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I'll do that for you right now.
Most often when I watch pro teams, I see them position it here, roughly. Sometimes people go not overextend, but extend to here to get a few early pot shots, I suppose, knowing that they could be flanked from behind. Our team pushes out way to here. Now, I did see one pro team doing this, which is a Korean team, but they knew they could spawn camp the other team. They were just that good.
What the? Okay.
Tend to just kind of amp up on cooldown. Not really sure when I should do it.
Okay. Alright. 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 So, what should you be doing right now? Let's start with the basics. What should you be doing right now? You should be staying safe. You should be having your team within your heal range. And you should be looking out for the enemy team. And you should be shooting. Shooting at something. So ideally, you want to be elevated because that keeps you safer. You can have a good angle on the enemy team. You should be shooting. Now you're amping up on cooldown because you aren't sure what exactly you should be doing with your app. That's a good question. So you should save your app either for for healing opportunities. If you see someone get low, that's when you would amp up a heal. For your speed, it's a little bit more complex. There's a lot of ways to use your speed buff. You can use it to retreat a teammate out of combat. You can use it to push your teammates into combat, but only when you recognize an opportunity that they can take advantage of. Otherwise, you really shouldn't be apping. You should be saving that cooldown for a specific opportunity that you recognize. And if your team is uncoordinated like this one, they're not talking, then your speed app is really not going to get... Your heal app is going to be more valuable than your speed app because your team just doesn't know how to take advantage of your speed app. So save it until you see a specific opportunity, like someone's low, you need to retreat, your team needs to go in. Those are the big ones.
Okay, we got a flanker. That's cool.
Okay, I like your positioning here. You're positioning next to this wall. That's also another good position. You can drop out of line of sight really fast here. It's not bad. They have a Genji, and you knock them away. It is actually, yeah, okay. So no need to amp there. No real needs an amp, especially not speed. But a Genji is actually very good of Lucio if you just go and attack Genji. You're probably not going to win the fight, but he's going to have a hard time killing you, and you have a good time, and you will have a better time surviving than other squishier members of your team, like if there's a Mercy or anyone else. You want him to be attacking you because you do your job while you're attacking Genji. Like if you fight that Genji within the line of sight of your team, you're doing your job. But let's say a Genji jumps on a Mercy or an Ana, or even Mercy, Ana, or even a Zenyatta. They have to stop doing a lot of their job in order to deal with that Genji. You don't, which is why I like Lucio on maps that have a lot of flankers, because I can really distract those flankers with my kit and still do everything I need to be doing. So you should be up in his face attacking him. And I would actually switch to speed buff here just so you can keep up with him in combat, and just be up in his face and smash. Lucio smash. Yeah, like if you just like run at him and then use your punch him a little bit, use your knockback, you can kill him, especially since he was so low. So yeah, so this is one of those moments where you actually want to switch to speed and just get on that Genji, get at him, get at him. Okay, so you heard May call out her ultimate. This is one of those moments where you want to use your speed amp because you want to get your team out of that blizzard range, and her blizzard range is huge. So as soon as you hear May, no matter where you hear her from, As long as you have your team with the line of sight, switch to speed, amp up speed. You have it on cooldown, that's what you use it for. To get your team out of dangerous situations. Now, okay, now you did it eventually, which is really good. So, you're good. That's nice. So, that's what I like to see. You're on the ball. You are on the ball. So, you have an idea of when you have some idea of when you should use that.
Like I should have been able to headshot that diva while she was frozen.
There's a Reaper. When Reaper's ulting, just switch to speed. Your heal isn't going to do anything, and your speed buff may actually give your team the chance to run away. And you even had amp there. I wouldn't mind you giving another amp. Using your speed buff in response to enemy team's amps, using your speed amp in response to enemy team's ultimate charges, are oftentimes, like, pretty much all the time, more effective than healing.
I maybe should have reacted by ulting there, but I did not actually have my ult.
You do not want to react to Reaper's ult by ulting, because here's the thing about Reaper's Death Blossom. He's usually close enough to kill the person he wants to kill before you're able to activate Sound Barrier, like 90% of the time. Very few... there's very few times you're going to actually be able to activate Sound Barrier to save the person he's trying to kill. So oftentimes you just waste it. So it's good that you did not activate your Sound Barrier in reaction to Reaper's Death Blossom.
Until I saw the thing happen. So I feel like our teammates need to get the hell out of there.
You're right.
Especially me.
Your teammates do need to get the hell out of there. They've lost the fight. Regroup. That Reaper is on your butt.
He thinks he's going to be able to catch me, apparently. Interesting.
Nope. You're faster than Reaper once you put on your speed passive. Okay.
Why not?
Okay. So, you said why not there, and this is Overwatch patch just dropped, Dark Reaper. Oh, cool. Cool beans. Wait, what was included in the patch? We're actually gonna. I have a god like Lucio in my team. Once he has foreseen the Reaper and dropped it in the exact right moment to counter it, so we can finish the Reaper off. Yeah, yep. I've done that. I've done that, but it's so unreliable. I think I've stopped doing it. But I've done that as well. My advice is general. There's always exceptions to every advice. Like I say, don't ult in response to a tracer bomb. But there's some instances where a Lucio Sound Barrier would be appropriate. But it's a general. Like that's why I said 90% of the time it just won't work. Hey, link the changes. We're asking. I want to take a look at it. Yeah, peer trainer. I'm a bit surprised it's out now. Not to all the balance changes too. Interesting. Also, a good play. Some diva tonight. Okay, so what were we talking about? Okay, so what were we talking about? Okay, we're talking about that ultimate. So you use your ultimate to initiate a fight there. But you notice your team didn't actually use your ultimate. They didn't run in and like, oh, we're going to go in and take a bunch of damage to use up this giant shield that we have. They just kind of lollygagged around. So you ended up losing that ultimate. And you won the fight because Junkrat got a bunch of kills with his Riptire, which wasn't affected by your ultimate. He would have got those kills regardless of whether or not you use Sound Barrier, which is why I like to use my ultimate either in response to an enemy ult or in combination with a specific ally ultimate. Like if I have a Reaper or a Genji or a Pharah, I'll use my ultimate in combination with theirs to guarantee that they're able to get the full effect out of their ultimates. Because that's a much more reliable play than just trying to use your ultimate to generally win the fight. Because you can't predict whether or not your Sound Barriers are going to be useful depending on how your team uses it. But when you use it, if you use your ultimate on a Death Blossom, you know, people are going to want to kill that Reaper. If you use your ultimate on, say, a Pharah, who's on your ally Pharah, who's using her, you know, Justice Ring from above, whatever it's called, people are going to want to kill her, and that shield is pretty much guaranteed to get use out of it. Big changes, boys. Big changes. I just read all the comp changes that they actually brought, and they brought pretty much everything. It's crazy. I'm still gonna play a ton of Ana though. No.
So I tried to speed the monkey out of there because I felt like he was trying to escape.
Yeah, that was good. All right, so this guy, he saw Winston was trying to escape. He used his speed. That's fine. He apped it though. I don't think that was deserving of an app. You want to use your app a little bit more conservatively than that. The speed passive would have been enough for Winston to escape just fine. Because then you will have your app available for the next opportunity.
I feel like our team at this point sort of gets that they're playing too far forward and should be.
Use the payload. Use the payload. Okay, that works. That works too. Yeah. So his team gets that they are playing too far forward and they're pulling back. This is where you want to. This is the place to defend, guys. This is the place to defend.
Okay, I reacted pretty good to that. My goal, of course, was to get the team out of there before it exploded. Nobody died to it. That's not good. Okay. Yeah. First aspect of positioning that I really.
Yeah, that was good. His reaction to that was good. Using app there was not a bad use of that app. That was a good use of that app.
Really want to talk about. Where should you be positioned so that you can avoid shit like that happen?
Up on this fountain. Up on, so, you know, where should he be positioned? Up on top of this fountain. Right here. That's how you do that. Because elevation and him down there won't be able to hit this fountain. And you can shoot, and you can see everything. You can see this side. Yep, you can just stand up there. You can see up here. You can see down there. You can see everything from this fountain. And then you can drop out of line of sight, but it's going behind the fountain at any time. So yeah, that's where you be. That's where you be.
I feel like that guy's old, maybe.
Okay, so this is something I do a lot as well that I've really tried to stop doing. D.Va. When D.Va gets low, she pops out of her mech. But then, a lot of times I try to app to save her, but the mech is already done, which ends up with me wasting my app. And I've tried to stop doing that now. Try to be more aware of how low D.Va gets. Because I don't want to be wasting my app on that. And this app, the app right here, was not very useful because of D.Va. Now, I want to see...
That guy's old, maybe. Kind of running straight for the middle.
Yeah, he got a little bit of charge out of that because the thing is, you still heal D.Va's mech. You still heal D.Va's mech after it's breaking, but it doesn't help D.Va because she's already being ejected. So try to be a little bit more aware of D.Va's health, so you don't waste your app in that way. Because you want to use your app when it's actually going to help people, survive and all that stuff.
Some footsteps on my left here. Okay.
The critical text over. Yeah, while it's bug. Yeah, that's really annoying. Like D.Va falling out of her mech. It makes me waste. It made me waste so many apps before I started actually trying to not waste it. Okay, this is where you want to. Okay. Want to be a little bit more efficient there. That Winston really needed some apping love, and then you could have got. You probably have ult here had you apped him, but yeah, it's this little small thing. Oh boy.
Okay, so I really thought I was out of line of sight of that.
Yeah.
Due to the scooter.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad at escaping those, to be honest.
It can see your head. No, you're not the only one.
Obviously, we have 3 dead. I'm gonna wait for those 3 dead people.
Good job. Do taxi them back to the combat. Yeah, I died to D.Va's ult from time to time as well. Maybe you could have crouched behind the scooter, but that wouldn't have been a guarantee that you would have dodged it. You probably just need to move forward into the room instead of back. But that just takes a little more game experience. More game awareness, which just takes playing the game more. Yeah, yep. D.Va can melt too fast for you to capture with the app. I'd rather just, if she's in a dangerous situation, I'd rather just use speed on her to give her a chance to run away rather than try to heal her through the damage, because Lucio's healing after the nerf, which is actually live, is only 38 per second. And when you amp, it's only 38 per second now. That's not going to be enough to out heal any damage. really anymore. So it's gonna make using speed a little bit. It's gonna make speed more viable. It's gonna make speed not more viable, but the better option more of the time. Like it's not even gonna be close. It's like you need to speed that person instead of trying to heal them because your Lucio healing is the weakest, one of the weakest in the game, next to Zenyatta's orb. But Zenyatta can like shoot people and discord them instead of just healing them. Lucio has to choose, so he's probably gonna want to start using that speed buff a little bit more. I still don't understand why they nerfed his healing. Seems dumb. Okay. So like that's not the problem with Lucio.
Now if we had been able to prevent them from reaching the point, I definitely would have ulted. As it stands right now, though, I don't think I'm going to.
So
I think
he doesn't need to ult here. They just use Graviton Surge to see what they can get out of that. Graviton Surge is a huge ultimate. It's a huge ultimate that can win the game solo. So I like that he's holding his ultimate here. And they have a Genji. Why I mentioned that is because you may want to have your ultimate to counter the Genji Dragon Blade.
There will be another team fight pretty soon, or possibly an ult that makes my ult much more effective. And so, as such, I'm probably gonna stay back a little farther than I normally would. Maybe like hang out up here.
This is absolutely the right move. This is amazing. Like good awareness, man. Absolutely, there could be you might need this in another fight, especially with the Genji. And since you already have your ultimate, there's no real need to just drop down random peppery fire. That's not going to really lead to a kill. The only reason you really need to do damage now is to finish off targets or to scout people's health. Other than that, stay back, stay safe. Make sure you're in a position to get that sound barrier off. 100% correct here.
Also hear somebody to the right.
Wait, even 76's heal is stronger than Lucio's now? It's stronger than 38 a second? Really? Good speed, good speed. That was a good speed.
Now I don't know where I am.
Yep, good speed, good speed. Switching to speed as soon as you hear that. That's what I like to see. Good speed. You could have done it a little bit faster. If you saw him coming in, that would have been a good speed. I am so glad you didn't use sound barrier. Yeah, I'm so glad you didn't use sound barrier there in reaction to hear that Reaper. You see how fast those people died to that Reaper? Like, that's what I'm talking about when it's like you can't use your sound barrier in reaction to a Reaper. Now, potentially you could have used your sound barrier when seeing Reaper and suspecting that it's going to drop in. But that's unreliable. Now it can work, but it's a lot of time unreliable. So you really have to see him coming in. So just use your speed buff. Try to do that. It takes perfect timing in order to counter the Reaper Death Blossom. Perfect timing. And even then, it's not guaranteed to work.
So there, I don't think I could have reacted quickly enough to see that die.
No.
If I had, I would have been able to save my team from it. But I don't think I'm good enough to do that.
No, you need perfect timing. I mean, let's rewind it.
Save my team. I could have reacted.
Like, where is he? Like, he's down there. Like, there is no way. Like, if he'd have saw this, he still wouldn't have had it in time. Like, look how fast they die. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if he would have tried to use his sound barrier in response to Reaper jumping, like, his team would have still died, and then his team would have still lost the fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just too risky. There's gonna be more other ultimates that are more effective use of Lucio's sound barrier, because it just came in too fast. Yeah, no, using your speed, but using speed was appropriate.
So there, I don't think I could have reacted quickly enough to see that die.
I've actually stopped playing Lucio. I'm
Had,
actually playing Ana now.
Save my team from it.
Glad to see you streaming. Question: any advice on shot calling?
To do that.
What do you mean specifically, SK Freeze? It's a very broad question. Well, he's viable when your team can actually use the speed buff, but I'm in like plat. Like no one is going to be using my speed buff in plat, so I've actually switched off to Ana so I can carry myself out of plat. And then once I get back to diamond,
to use my ult with.
no, that's fine. I'm glad okay. I'm actually talking to the people in the team. I'm saying that I'm not using Lucio in plat because people do not use my speed buff very effectively. And if you're not using Lucio's speed buff, then why are you playing? Like, why is there even a Lucio in your team if you're not going to use Lucio's speed buff? So I'm actually going to be playing Ana to carry myself out of there. And I actually like that you held onto your sound barrier because again, you wouldn't have got that much work. You wouldn't have done anything with the sound barrier. You have to know the limits of your character. Great awareness there. Good awareness.
Now I feel like this is the right
time. I think that was a good ult.
Okay, so I still can't ever.
Wait a minute. Let me analyze this ult right quick.
Now I feel like this is the right time.
Yeah, that was a good ult. There was a clutch ult. You saved your team. You allowed them to move in. You saved this person's life. They were about to get killed by Genji. You saved them. So this was a decently defensive ultimate here. So I like this ultimate because you really want it to go in and you have people whose life you're going to save directly. You're going to get direct use out of that shield. Good ult.
Okay, so I still can't ever escape that ultimate. I hear pro players talking about all the time about how not only can they escape that ultimate, it's actually borderline useless because of how often people escape it. That's astonishing to me. I assume it has something to do with positioning or reaction speed. I'm way too far forward.
Yes, it has to do with both of those things. So if you're positioned, better. So you're out in the middle of this road. Like there's no cover there. There's like absolutely no cover. You could be positioned up here. You could be positioned like right behind here. That would give you great positioning. You could have been positioned behind this car. You could have been positioned in a ton of different spaces. Dodging that Diva ultimate would have been child's play. So that's why you hear pros talking about it because they're positioned properly. So Diva's ultimate is more used to like make space, but you can do that without having to use a very valuable ultimate. So if you position properly, you won't have a problem with that ultimate. Even though King of the Hill, I don't like King of the Hill either. I don't like Lucio on King of the Hill either. Well, I don't like him on Elios. I like him on Lijiang Tower and the other one, but I specifically don't like Lucio on Elios. Because if your team doesn't have an advantage, then you can't get into a position to reliably use your knockback to secure kills or to get good use out of it, because your team have to play back away from the area where you would get a kill. Your team has to already have an advantage for you to get good use out of your Lucio. So I play solo queue. If my team doesn't have advantage, then it really reduces the usefulness of Lucio, especially since in solo queue and where I am, people don't use the speed buff. I have to choose a different character to carry out it because you can't carry if your team isn't good. Like Lucio amplifies the person's power. I want to come up with an analogy, but I'm really bad at analogies. But let's say your team overall is a 70. Lucio makes your team a 90 by how good he is. You get an extra 20 points because they're 70. But let's say your team is a 30. Lucio makes your team a 35. Like the less skilled your team is, the less valuable a Lucio would be on that team. Because his kit revolving around his team being able to effectively use the things that would cause them to be better, like the speed buff. And if they can't use it, then choose someone else.
Yeah, there's Reaper up there. He's gonna come from my left.
Good awareness. You know what? Okay, so this is very strange. He knows Reaper. He acknowledges that Reaper's going to come from his left, but then he moved towards the left without actually keeping an eye on where that Reaper is. Like that Reaper could have just dropped down and ulted his entire team, and he wouldn't know. So the fact that you acknowledge that the Reaper is up to the left is good, but then you have to actually implement that information into your gameplay. Keep an eye on the left, like know where he is. Imagine Europe. Yeah, exactly. Imagine Europe. Yes, speed. Yes, I love that you use speed buff here in reaction to Genji's Dragon Blade, is that gives your team the ability to potentially kite him out because you're not going to heal through that ultimate. Love it, love it, love it. Ah, I got it. That was that. You need the app. You need the app. So many targets to app. Damn. Not really sure what this ultimate was about. So here is another ultimate. It was a defensive ultimate. His team didn't need this ultimate. Like there's a Genji and a Reaper, and there's like 4 people on the point. He didn't get very much use out of the ultimate, which is why it's just like Lucio's ultimate has a very high margin of error. The shield degrades really fast. It takes a long it takes 0.75 seconds or something like that in order for the ultimate to actually activate, because he has to hit the ground and break it down. So if you don't get use out of that ultimate within the first 3 seconds, that ultimate is wasted. Which is why I like to use it to combo with certain characters, because I want it to be pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to get use out of it. Now he doesn't have his ultimate. He basically didn't do anything with that thing. Let's rewind it. I want to see what he was actually doing it in response to. Like, his team, I guess he was using it on that Reaper who was raise forming, and it allowed the Reaper to go in. And then, how did Zarya die? Oh, Zarya died before the ultimate. So he might have actually been trying to save this Zarya. If he actually got this ultimate on that Zarya and saved her life, then that would have been a good ultimate. But again, the margin of error is so high that, like, he pressed the button as Zarya died. Like, he went to go press the button as Zarya died. That's what I'm talking about when I say margin of error. That's why it's just so much more reliable to just coordinate with your team when you use it. Is Lucio still worth using? Yes, if you have a good team. If you have reliable players who are going to use Lucio's kit. So if you group with like a Reaper and a Reinhardt, yes, all day. If you group with a Reaper or Reinhardt, yes, use Lucio all day. But also,
not unhappy.
Also, I'd like to use it. Someone just asked in my chat whether or not Lucio is worth using after the nerf, and I'm saying yes. If you group with good teammates, but if you aren't grouped with good teammates, then no, no, he's not really worth using. Ana is worth using in all situations, even after the speed, even after the nerf to her ultimate. She just has a kit that's really good on a second by second basis, regardless of her ultimate. Her kit is just that good, and she has carry potential with her kit. So that was one round. This guy, he asks. I'm actually gonna review another round of this guy because I like the way he talks. He's like asking me questions.
I'm never happy if I die as Lucio.
You should not be happy if you die as Lucio.
Sometimes I see people jumping off the edge on purpose, just so they can respawn with the rest of their team. And maybe that's something I should integrate into my game. Finding yourself alone as a Lucio and all you can really do is just kind of slink back to your team and kind of ferry them forward. Is a bad feeling.
Well, the reason people will suicide like that is so they don't feed the enemy team ultimate charge with their death. But if you as Lucio can get away from the fight and not die, then that's preferable, because then you're not gone for 10 seconds. But if you think you're going to die, then it's better to suicide, because that's 200 less health for the enemy team's ultimate charge.
Based on that team and what they chose last round, I feel like there's probably going to be a soldier. Soldiers usually pick the same offense as defense. Probably May, same deal. Probably another Lucio, same deal. Probably Reaper.
You think with, yeah. So Scully said, I think with the Ana ult nerf, Lucio's speed buff will get a lot more value. You're absolutely right. Comboing an Ana with a Lucio, I think it's going to be even more viable now, because you'll have that speed buff to make up for Ana's nerf state. And also, Lucio's presence doesn't really eat into Ana's ultimate charge, because he doesn't do a lot of healing. A lot of Ana's ultimate charge comes with the amount of healing she does, so they just complement each other a lot.
So...
Yeah, me neither, Radical. I rarely, if ever, tactical suicide. But if the option is between dying and tactical suicide, then dying is preferable. No, then tactical suicide is preferable.
Say, oh, well, that means I should be using this character or something like that.
Oh, he just said something. I didn't hear what he said.
Say, oh, maybe I don't really know if there's anything I can.
Pressure always said the same thing.
I don't really know if there's anything I can deduce from that. Maybe a better player could say, oh, well, that means I should be using this character or something like that. So that's something I'm curious about.
Okay, I think he's talking about whether or not he should be switching off of Lucio. I need to make an entire video on that. It's going to be... Here's the thing. I remember talking about this. That needs to be a video I make. I need to make a video on when to switch off of Lucio. Basically, what happens is, switch off of Lucio if you're not getting enough value out of his kit. Lucio's kit is really good at handling flankers, taking advantage of speed, you know, getting people in and out when they need to get in and out. If your team isn't doing that, or if your team doesn't really need that, then I'd say switch off. So, for example, if the enemy team doesn't have a lot of flankers, then a lot of Lucio's kit is wasted, because a lot of his disruption potential, his knockback is really useful in flankers. Reaper, May, Genji, Tracer, you know, it's useful versus Reinhardt as well, but a lot of people are just not that disrupted by getting knocked back. Like, if you knock back a soldier, yeah, you're not really getting, if you knock out a diva, like, what are you getting out of that knockback? Like, what are you doing that's worth the knockback, that's worth being up at so far? Like, you're not really getting a lot of value. Like, if you knock back a Torbjorn, or like maybe like a Zarya, like what are you doing actually? Like, what are you adding to your team? Not very much. So when you're on attack, like especially here, I like to switch off to Ana, because the point of attack is to like power through the enemy's front line, and especially if your team is not going to be using your speed buff to power through like choke points, then you definitely switch off of Lucio. If your team is not coordinating and they are not using your speed buff to get past those choke points, switch, because that's a lot of utility that is just wasted. You might as well be getting some damage in if your team's not going to use you. I'm going to make a whole video on that, though. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
So, Right at the beginning here, I guess I kind of super speed out to maybe surprise the other team, but it doesn't seem like it has that much efficacy.
You're right. It doesn't. There's really no reason to use your speed buff in that situation because you're right there. You want to be saving your amp for ideally heal in case the team is going to drop down a bunch of damage or someone takes a bunch of damage. I mean, there's no choke point you're going to be speaking back because most teams don't defend up so far, and even if they do, they aren't defending very effectively. Now I say most teams because there's always exception to the rule. Like apparently there's a Korean team that did it up this close, but that's just because they were way better than the people they're playing against. Usually, yeah. I mean, even from the beginning, even if you're going to be using your speed buff to get past this choke, well, you have to save it, and not as soon as the gates open. You have to save it till your team's ready, and then coordinate. Say, okay, now let's go. But as soon as the gates open, you want to be basically you want to be like right next to the thing, so you can get the most out of the 3-second duration of that speed up. But that's not going to happen in your games because your team isn't coordinating. So save your amp for heal in this situation specifically. So
it's not really a push.
So you're right.
You're right. Surprised to see nobody to the left or the right. Usually somebody comes out like a roadhog to hook you there. So there's a soldier. I kind of want to see. Oh, there's a Reaper. He Wraith formed as a result of my shooting him. He's probably going to drop down.
See, that's really good value. So just shooting people can make them panic like that. You probably won't get that in higher ranked games though. Like once you get to diamond, like just shooting people make them to waste a big cooldown, like a Wraith form or even a May Ice Block. But you got a lot of value out of just shooting at someone, and then you got some ult charges out of it as well. It's nice. Oh boy. There's a Reaper.
So he's probably already targeting me.
Okay. So if Reaper's targeting you, like if Reaper's targeting you, you want that to be the case because what is Reaper gonna do to you? You can knock him back, you can get elevated. You should be happy that Reaper's targeting you because he shouldn't be killing you. Your kit is just so good with the knockback, with the self heal, with the ability to elevate. You shouldn't be dying to Reaper, and you want to waste his time. And you also want to kind of be hounding him as well because his damage is done close range. And if you can knock him away from a target he wants to kill, then you're really getting a lot of use out of Lucio, which is why I like him to disrupt flankers. Good. Nice hunting him down.
That was because I assumed that was going to be a D.Va ult. I misjudged that.
That wasn't bad. He didn't.
He clearly need to be healed.
He didn't waste any cooldowns. It's fine.
Somebody to my left. That's probably Reaper again.
All right. You need to be speeding and disrupt. This is the perfect time to use the knockback. So what you want to do is as soon as you see Reaper running in, get to his side and knock him away. Just disrupt him. Just make it so it takes him longer to do his job. Maybe gives your time enough time to react to him. Nice. See, I mean, of course, not everyone. People aren't very good in this game, but even at higher levels.
I actually feel pretty good about our position right now.
Yeah, even at higher levels, you're gonna get a lot of efficacy out of disrupting those flankers.
Whether I should use an ult. I'll probably use it reactively this time.
You want to be a little more, so you just kind of amp randomly. You want to be a little more conservative with those amps, especially since there's no fight going on. You have time to, even if someone was low, I don't even think that there was, but even if there was someone that was low, you have time to just heal them up until the next fight starts. I mean, the payload just got to the next point. You have a huge spawn advantage. You don't need to be using your ultimate, your amp in this situation. Save it for an emergency situation or when it's gonna really have a good chance of keeping someone in the fight or saving someone's life.
Probably see if I can time the Death Blossom or the Soldier 76 one. That was a little slow on my part.
Yeah, I was gonna comment about how slow that was.
I just don't want anyone to die here.
I was gonna comment about how slow that was, but you have good self-awareness, man. You have good self-awareness. Okay. Now that ultimate, you said you didn't want anyone to die, but it didn't really help you push very far because your team wasn't able to capitalize on it. Like your shield isn't strong enough to be used like that. Like your shield just is not strong enough. It's not good enough. You need to have your entire team go in, or like someone who has a big ultimate use that shield. Just using it to generally save someone's life who isn't even really fighting. You're not gonna really get much use out of that shield. It's just not good enough. The bro shield. Knock away. See, I mean, what is Reaper gonna do to you? Like, what is Reaper gonna do to you? He's gonna pepper you with shots, and you're just gonna run away. And I mean, you can get that health pack, you know. He can't kill you. You outrun him. Like, what's that? No. Well,
Finally, get back to healing 4.
I'm gonna check out this new track. Great stream today, Professor. Must pretty take it easy. See you later, Rilla. Die.
My ultimate is almost ready.
Ugh.
Jesus.
The speed buff. I like to see. I like your positioning here as well. Shoot him down, try to build that ultimate. Get a good line of sight of your team. That's what I like to see.
I always feel like as Lucio, destroying a turret is kind of your responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy for Lucio to destroy it. It's very easy for anyone to really destroy a turret. But you might as well do it. It's easy. Since it's easy, if you have the time. But notice again how ineffective that ultimate he did was. Like, his team just didn't use his ultimate. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. That's why I'd probably switch off of Lucio here. If your team's just not coordinated enough to use that ultimate. Like, you have so much potential. Lucio has so much potential to make his team good, but if they're not using what he provides, it's just like, bruh. Bruh. Ugh.
I feel like Mercy's doing a good job healing people, that I can keep it on speed aura more often than not.
Yeah, you're right. So Mercy is doing a really good job healing people that you can't be in speed or most of the time. What is what you actually see pros doing? They're Lucio, they're in speed buff like 90% of the time because they know that their healers are going to be doing their job properly and not dying and all that. They can trust their team members, which is how Lucio should be played. This is why he's used so much, because he's just really good when it comes to a coordinated team. I wish I could do that at solo queue and and diamond and stuff, but people just don't use it properly. Oh, that was interesting. Let's rewind that. He hears the die. Notice, Mercy dies immediately. This, like, let me see something. Look at this. Like, Mercy dies immediately. And then he has enough time to save these two. So did his team have a potential to win this fight? Yes, if they could have focused on the Reaper. Would a better team have won this fight had he got such a clutch sound barrier? Yeah, probably. So this is what this is one of the exceptions to the rule of using Reaper's ultimate, using Lucio's ultimate. But the thing is, a better Reaper could just hold on to his ultimate. Like let's say you use the sound barrier, a better Reaper could see that and wraith farm or something and try for another opportunity. But then you basically win the fight. So it just depends on the situation. It can work. It definitely can work. It could have worked here if his team was better, if they focused down the Reaper better. So it definitely can work. I'm still skeptical about it. It's a situation where just Lucio's ultimate is just so niche. Like you need to use it a specific way that it doesn't always work. It's not guaranteed to work, though it definitely can work. So I would say if you are 100% sure Reaper is gonna ult, yes, use Lucio's ultimate because it can counter it if your team is good enough. But they lose this fight anyway because their team isn't good enough. They lose the fight anyway. But you can see the potential of using that sound barrier. I mean, I've used my sound barrier to counter Reaper's ult when I see it coming. It's so rare. It's just like it's just not consistent enough. My taste.
We lost.
Oh. That was a draw. Okay, so everyone moved out of the way because of the May Blizzard. Okay, I see. All right. Well, that was a good game either way. That ultimate at the end probably wasn't the most necessary thing. But again, that's just due to how much of a margin of error Lucio's ult has. It can very easily be wasted. That's one of the hardest parts about Lucio is reliably getting an effective ultimate, especially when your team isn't coordinating. So I think I've beaten the dead horse enough. Let's go back to my face. So this has been Derp. Thank you for submitting that gameplay for my 10,000 subscribers special. I really like that you ask questions during your gameplay that I can answer. That was actually really good. That's why I reviewed the second round. I was like, this is actually a really effective way for me to review this. So thanks again, Derp. Guys, this has been Professor Ganymede. Thanks for watching. Class dismissed.